Welcome in, Bills Mafia. Welcome back to another edition of the Go Bills podcast here on the Go Bills Podcast Network. I am your host and founder of the page, Brett McDurphy. Glad to be with you on this Sunday evening for another edition of the Sunday Sit Down. I'm joined by a special guest. She is someone who is going to be making her first appearance on the Go Bills podcast, but more importantly, she is the first female choice that I had for a Sunday Sit Down guest. She is my fiance. She's also my better half. So you can see that beautiful ring that I got her. We'll have to do a close up of that. But you can see all the sparkles that I gave her. So you know that she's doing pretty good. And you know how they always say, if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. I liked her. I put a ring on her, and I did put a ring on her. We're about 7 months away from our wedding, coming up so fast. We just had our tasting that we did yesterday, which was incredible. The food was fantastic, but more importantly, she is a fellow Bills Mafia member, and she is going to tell you a little bit more about herself so you can get to know her. Hannah, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much for allowing me to be able to do these shows with, we have guys like the Bills Mafia with Jake, as well as Mike that we do it. And I'm going to give a little special shout out before the show to Mike Fortin. It is his birthday today, so don't forget to go on over to the Nickel City Mafia's YouTube page, send him a happy birthday, and don't forget to go over to their Instagram as well at Nickel City Mafia. Send him a message on there. Tell him that Brett sent you over, and let him know that you are watching my shows and you are wishing him the best of birthdays. I hope he is enjoying it so much. We're going to have a show later on today where we're going to do a little bit of a expert opinion on what the Bills and the experts are saying on the Bills for the draft. And we're going to go into that a little bit more. But before this show, we're going to get to know Hannah York, because she is a special person. She's someone who has the prettiest smile. She's the most beautiful girl in the world. So let's get to know her a little bit more. Hannah, tell the viewers a little bit more about how you became a Bills Mafia member.
Awesome. So, I was I can't believe it's almost been 5 years ago. We both were back in college down in Fort Myers, Florida. We're both Floridians. And we were down actually in my dorm room, and we were only a few months into dating. And I knew he was this huge football guru, but I had no idea what the Bills Mafia was. I didn't know it was this whole community, and I was like, wow, this is kind of crazy. So I remember sitting on the couch, and I was on my laptop doing some homework, college stuff, and he was like, we need to watch the Bills game. It's on at 1:00. We need to watch this. And I was like, okay, it's just another football game. In the past, I was a Tampa Bay Bucks fan. I can't say I was religious by any means. I definitely I tune in here and there, but I wasn't loyal. Was that?
You weren't a fanatic.
No, not a fanatic by any means. But I was like, you know what? I'll give the Bills a try. I like this guy. We'll see what this is about. And so it was actually, the Bills game was against the Minnesota Vikings, and it was one of Josh Allen's first ever premier games. It was back in 2017. And it was an epic game. I don't remember the name of the guy, but I remember Josh Allen trampled over as one of the defensive guys.
Yeah, and Anthony Barr.
Yeah, Anthony Barr. And I remember I was like, holy cow, I've never seen that. That was incredible. Number one, the quarterback, that was crazy. But yeah, so that was the first game I've ever watched. And after that, I was like, wow, I could get into this. This is exciting. So yeah, that was my first ever Bills Mafia, getting into it, and it was really, really cool. So I wanted to know more.
Yeah, that was a great game. The Bills were they were actually favored to lose that game by 14 points. So that was one of the biggest dismantlements of a team that was probably a playoff team at that time. They had some great weapons with Adam Thielen on the team as well. And Buffalo came in and they steamrolled all over the Minnesota Vikings, took complete control of them. And it really seemed like it transformed the Bills because at that time we were a team that was in the bottom of the basement in the NFL. And then you had a guy in Josh Allen who was really showing his maturity, number one, as well as the fact that he was going to become the leader of the franchise. And I believe that day he did become the leader of the franchise. And it took the Bills about 20 years. You weren't around when we were in the drought stages. You became a Bills Mafia member at a very good time. You caught the train at the right time where we just went to the playoffs. We broke the drought a few years before you became a fan. And then we had the drought where we had Tyrod Taylor take us to the drought or take us out of the drought, take us to the playoffs. We lost a game in Jacksonville. That was a game that was very, very disappointing for Bills Mafia members. But we got to the stage that we needed to get to, and that was one of the things on the checklist. Then the next year, we draft Josh Allen. We pick him. We get him out here. We had a quarterback at the time who was supposed to take over and let Josh Allen sit for about a year, and things didn't work out. We were struggling at that time, and then you bring in Josh Allen, who is going to be the starting quarterback. Now, the game before that, which you didn't watch, was the game against the Los Angeles Chargers at that time, where Nathan Peterman threw 5 interceptions in one half. So that was the game that allowed Josh Allen to come in, and now he's the starting quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, and he transformed the franchise in so many ways. It hasn't been since a guy named Jim Kelly, who you probably don't even know of, but Jim Kelly was the last quarterback for the Buffalo Bills to actually have a contract, I believe a contract extension since the franchise. So it's great to see a guy in Josh Allen come in and become the franchise quarterback. Now, what are your thoughts on having a guy like Josh Allen who has that cute face and everything? And I know you would agree with this. He has probably the cutest face on the Bills. So you bring him in, and he's now the face of the franchise. What are your thoughts on having a guy like Josh Allen on the Buffalo Bills and being the superstar for the team?
Well, I'm a huge fan. Because I think it's kind of cool because since I first, became a fan, like that's when he started. So I've kind of like got to know him, kind of like watch, progressively his game.
Technical difficulties a little bit. We have our puppy on the show too, so she's making a surprise appearance, and this is how it goes. It normally she makes a surprise appearance. She tries to get up there. She wants to be around mommy and daddy. So don't worry, guys. She's a Bills Mafia member too, so she just wants to make her appearance. She's mad at me for not picking her to be a part of the Sunday Sit Down series yet, so we have to get her on here. But we'll make it a show. It's just we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna keep it going. It's part of the blooper reel. We'll put it in at the end. So get back to what you were saying, Hannah, about Josh.
Yeah. So I was saying that, like I said, I kind of like have watched him develop and how he's progressed throughout almost 5 years. And I know a little bit like that he's from a small town in Wyoming, comes from a, not farming background, but
he actually does come from a farming background. So
okay.
Talk a little bit about his parents.
Well, I don't know too much about his parents, but I know that he definitely is the type of guy that when fame comes into play, like that's not what he's there for. Like he's there for football. He's there to play. Like he's always loved the game. He was a quarterback in college. Remind me of what his team was that he played on in college.
He played for Wyoming, actually. So he played in Wyoming. He's from Fireball, California, actually. So you kind of got it. We mixed some words around and everything. He's from Fireball, California. He played for Wyoming. His family has a farm, and you hit the nail on the coffin, honey, when you said that Josh Allen comes from a small town and he hasn't let the fame get to him. Now, Buffalo, as you know, is a very small town. It's a hardworking blue collar town, which is exactly what Josh Allen brings to Buffalo. Now I'm going to let you get into it a little bit more on Josh Allen, talk about him a little bit more because he's like I said, he's a superstar, and you have his jersey on too. So talk a little bit more about him too. Hype him up. Give me the speech on and give me the hype on Josh Allen. I need to hear it.
Yeah. So another huge thing that I know he does before every single game is he has a unique handshake with every single player on the team. And I think that is literally so awesome. Like, I don't know if any other team does that or any other quarterback. They may do, but I know the Bills do. And I think that really hypes up not only himself, but he also, I think that hypes up his players too, because they know like they're all on a team. They all mean something to him because he literally made that handshake for them.
Yeah,
So I really think that's really awesome. And it really shows his commitment to the team, and it shows, his commitment to his players, because it's not a one man show. He doesn't, he wants it to be a team. He wants it to be, the mafia. Like, that's what it's all about. So I really like that. And another thing that I kind of know about him, like a unique fact, is he has an old soul. So he listens to like the 50s and like, the old school music while he's like warming up, throwing up, I heard too, like, nerves.
what Buffalo's all about, right? You get to the pregame, you get a little bit too hyped up, throw up a little bit, you get inside the stadium, and then that atmosphere kicks in, and you feel that energy, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I can kind of relate to that because I'm an old soul. I love oldie goldies. I like the new stuff too, but so I just think he's a very like all around kind of guy, and perfect for Buffalo. Perfectly fits what they need. Perfectly fits, what I think the Buffalo Bills embody. So I don't think they could have picked a better quarterback, and I think he's going to continue to grow. He's definitely not, he hasn't reached his full potential yet. But I think, I think he's perfect for Buffalo, and I hope he never leaves.
I do too. Now, that word that you just said, there's a P word that we're not allowed to say, and you're trying to get me on that. And I know you have some insiders. Somebody said it before the show. Somebody like Nickel City Mafia or Red, White, and Bill said something to you about it. There's a certain word that we cannot say on our shows. And this is something that I can't even say it on this show because it will cost me $5. So don't forget. I'm going to say the word because I'm allowed to say it one time on the show if I'm announcing what the thing is. It's the word potential. We're not allowed to say it. We went into a series where we were talking and everything, and we said, gosh, we use this word called potential all the time. We always say it, and it's something that kept going on and on and on. And we said, all right, for every time that we say potential, we are going to put $5 in the box, and we're going to do a drawing when the NFL draft comes along, and somebody's going to get a great prize. Now, that has made it up to about $200 overall. I believe Jake Podger is in the lead. Mike Fortin has the least amount of times he said it. I believe it's only like twice that he said it, so he owes $10. I'm currently in second place. Sean Kula, who missed the show, unfortunately, with an illness, he is in third place. I only think he said it about 3 or 4 times as well. So there's a great pot that's going to come around with a great prize for a lucky fan. So don't forget to tune into the Nickel City Mafia, Red, White, and Bills, and Go Bills podcast for our NFL draft edition of the show. So that's going to be so much fun. It's a lucky winner is going to get a prize worth over $200, probably even $300. It might be a signed autographed jersey by your guy, Josh Allen, or it could be something else, or we could mix in a couple prizes in there as well. So don't forget that. But Hannah, I want to go back to talking about something else. I know we've talked a little bit about behind the scenes about the Bills Stadium, and there's been we obviously know that the Bills have signed a new lease for the Buffalo Bills to stay in Buffalo until 2055, which is great. And actually, 2056 is when the deal ends. But this allows Buffalo to have their team for another 30 plus years. And we're going to see a new stadium come along. And I want to know your thoughts. You've been around the stadium. What did you like about the stadium of it's Highmark Stadium, but at the time when you went, it was New Era Field. What were your thoughts when you flew into Buffalo. You saw the stadium for the first time, and you got to be around there. And now you're seeing the renderings of the new stadium. What do you think could be something for something that you're looking forward to with the new stadium?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great. I know like there's always gonna be new improvements. There's gonna be the new locker room. There's gonna be I'm sure a more bigger and better improved field for the guys to play. Do you know if it's gonna be like heated underneath? Because I know with like all the snowstorms and all of that, like it's gonna you know with the weather, you never really know what it's going to be. So are they going to be more heated fields for them, or like, is there going to be upgrades with that? I'm not sure how that's going to look.
That's actually a great question. Nothing's been reported on if it's going to be heated. I imagine it will be to some degree, but one thing that you might not know about the Bills Stadium, the current one that they're in, Highmark Stadium, is the 100 level of that stadium is below ground. So when you go into the stadium, you go in at you're starting at the 200 level, and then you go down into, I call it the tunnel type of thing, where you go down into the tunnel, and that's where the stadium is. And that 100 level, it allows for a wind to get in there, and they built the stadium that way on purpose as a home field advantage for the Buffalo Bills. Now that home field advantage allows for the swirling winds that come off of Lake Erie to get to the point where it might confuse kickers, and the Bills kickers overall in their franchise history have been fantastic. Now we have a guy in Tyler Bass who we like to call him
Basil.
Now, that nickname became a nickname by my dad, and we're going to trademark that nickname after the show because we just put it on the national broadcast, don't forget. So that is going to be trademarked by the Go Bills podcast. So we call him
Basil.
for a certain reason, and we got to get you caught up a little bit further, honeys. We got to get that a little faster. So we call him that name on purpose because my dad will say it. On the show, we said, my dad loved this kid from the moment he met him. Now, that's a lie. Okay, we have that truth or lie your tail off segment that we do, and that was his question was, did he love Tyler Bass from the moment he met him? And he said yes. Now that's the truth or lie. He lied on that one, but we also talk about Tyler Bass and how that resilience has come in so fast. So I think he's gotten so much better. But for kickers, it's gonna take that the ball and kind of give it a direction where they don't want it to go. So we're going to see some game winners for the Bills, hopefully in the new stadium where the wins are going to be even worse for opposing kickers, which is what I'm looking forward to so much. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the NFL draft. Okay. Now, I know you're not as big of a fan as I am. You're not the football guru like I am, but let's talk about the NFL draft. What are you looking forward to in the NFL draft? First of all, do you like the NFL draft? Do you like watching the players that the Bills select, or are you more of like, I need to see them on the field and what they do on the field?
So I'd say a mix of both, because once we get to, I believe we're the 27th pick for the draft. Once we finally get there, I think it's great to be able to kind of see the players and get to know a little bit about them, get to see their families. So I think it's definitely nice to be able to kind of get a preview of what you're going to see in the upcoming fall. But then of course you'll want to see them on the field. So it's really exciting. You can kind of look back and be like, oh yeah, I remember he was in the draft. Like, they kind of give his like their strengths and weaknesses, what we can kind of look for. So I think it's exciting because it's kind of like a little preview into what you're going to see, during the season. And I also wanted to mention too that on your Instagram, it's been really interesting. I'm following your 27 prospects in 27 days. So that's been really cool to kind of have a sneak peek preview of, who we're going to see in the draft. So I've really enjoyed getting to, learn about these players, where they came from, what we can, look forward to seeing in them. So it's exciting.
Yeah, I like that you brought that up, the 27 players in 27 days, because that series is on our Instagram page so that some fans, they're not the football gurus like I am or Sean is or Jake or Mike are. They might not know these players that are coming out of the draft. And you got to remember, there's about 252, 200 some odd players that come out of the draft that you may not even know of. You might know of the top 30 players. But these players that are coming out of the small schools are the players that nobody's talking about. And you get to know these players and see if they can come to Buffalo. And these are guys that are going to be prospects that the Bills are going to be looking into. And that's the reason why we started this, because if we hit the nail on the coffin with one of the players be coming to Buffalo and you get to learn a little bit more about them, then that's one thing that we can check off of our list and talk about. And then when the draft comes along and we get to talk about the players that we didn't even talk about, we get to see the footage of these guys off of the all 22. You'll get to see the players that we didn't even mention that, maybe there's somebody that Buffalo liked that their scouts loved. And it could be a guy like Cody Mock that we haven't even talked about, where he comes in and he's from a small school. And that small school player comes in and he becomes a superstar for the Buffalo Bills. And we didn't even talk about him. So it's great to have that as well. So I like what you said on the draft. And, we're the 27th pick. It's late at night. It's going to be, about probably 10:30 by the time we pick, or Buffalo could trade up. Maybe we'll see what happens there. So that's another option. Now, draft night for you. Tell me a little bit about watching the first draft that you saw, and I want to know your thoughts on this, because I believe this was the year that Buffalo drafted Ed Oliver that year. So Buffalo had an early pick in the 2019 NFL draft. Now, he's a guy. I'm gonna talk a little bit about him. He's a guy that comes to Buffalo with a little bit of that Buffalo swag type of thing, where he played for Texas and everything. How Texas people are. They love their Cowboys. They love to dress up and everything. Talk to me a little bit about Ed Oliver and just give me your thoughts on him coming to Buffalo and what you like about him. Is there some type of dance that you like that he does?
Well, I think everyone has kind of like a little move that they have on the team, because I know like Diggs and Allen have a little something going on, and I mean, they all have their handshakes, but I think all of them kind of bring a unique flair to the team and unique, moves and stuff like that. They're not afraid to show off. Um, but yeah, I think he's a great asset to the team. Definitely coming from Texas, he can fit the Buffalo vibe very well. They're all like in this little farmer's town, and
Now,
I
have
think
you have you seen that video where uh, Ed Oliver comes to the Bill Stadium on a horse?
no, I haven't seen that yet.
So so Ed Oliver is a player who comes. I mean, he is farmer type, just like Josh Allen and everything. He came to the Bill Stadium on a horse, and his sack dance is where he kind of does that little giddy up type of thing, and he dances and everything. And that's what I was getting at, that a little bit more, to get your thoughts on that little giddy up dance that he does and everything, where he's going ride the cow, type of thing. So ride the horse. It's kind of cool that he does that. So I wanted to know
Yeah,
your thoughts on that dance.
yeah, for sure. No, I think that's amazing. Like I said, like I think they're all like not afraid to show off, and they're not afraid to have fun. Like,
Yeah,
you can tell like I know with the Bucks, like they do a little like rowboat, like towards the, when they get a quarterback or I'm sorry, a touchdown. But like I feel like the Bills from like the start to finish, they're always like having fun. They're always like,
yeah,
you know, pumping each other up. A big one that I notice all the time is Diggs. Like, when they may be down, he's like, you know what, it's fine. Like, we're gonna come back. We're gonna, do everything we can to get back into it. So I really love how like they all kind of like pump each other up with their little, dance moves and their little inside jokes and stuff. And you know that they're close because
oh yeah,
I know like Josh Allen will like have everyone to his house and like, play video games together. And
yeah,
like, that really shows like it's not just on the field. Like they're friends, outside of the field and outside of their, quote unquote job. Um,
Right.
so I think, they're not afraid to, have fun. They're not afraid to be themselves. And that's a thing that I think the Bills really admire about them because, they are who they are and they play well together. So,
Yeah, I agree with you there. I'm going to move into a new segment. I know we're kind of almost out of time and we want to jump into a new segment. We're going to do a this or that segment with you. We're going to jump very fast into it. I'm going to start with the first question. Do you prefer Josh Allen or Stephon Diggs?
that's hard. But if I had to choose, it'd probably be Josh Allen.
Okay. Do you prefer drumsticks or wings?
Wings.
Okay. Do you like your wings with extra sauce on them, or do you like them very, very light on the sauce?
I'm a kind of light on the sauce kind of girl because you can always add more, but you can't take away.
Are you a city or country girl?
Mm, I'd say kind of both, but um, I guess I'll go with more city because I still love to shop, and you can't do that in the country.
What's your favorite type of soda?
Actually, Starry. I'll kind of like put that in as a sponsor. So actually, Pepsi went away with Sierra Mist. I've been like a Sprite girl like my whole life. But Pepsi came out with a new line called Starry, and it's really really good. It tastes similar to Sprite, but I highly recommend it for anyone who hasn't tried it yet. It's delicious and crisp and very refreshing.
Very good. You're just a spokesperson for Starry. I mean, you came up with that so well. I love what you said. Now, for you going up to Buffalo and being in the town of Buffalo, I need to know your go-to place. Name a place in Buffalo that you love to go when you get up there. It could be a place to eat or a town that you love. Tell me the place that you love, where you feel comfortable.
Okay, so the first place that comes to mind, which it's not necessarily like a plate, like a restaurant or anything like that, uh, but we went to the falls. My gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Niagara Falls, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. We went there. Our again almost 5 years. Oh well, a few years ago, back in 2018. And we went there and we went on Maid of the Mist, the little like cruise that you can go on through the falls, and it was absolutely beautiful. Like we got, I have to admit, I was a little like in a mood when we were there because I thought, oh, let me like get really ready for this. I want some cute pictures. Like I know it's gonna be a great time. Like I'm gonna see these falls. It's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I was like, I got to do my hair, get it all nice. We got soaked, that
You
makes
didn't
sense.
just do your hair, you did your makeup as well. So you
Yeah.
got all hyped up. You look beautiful. Don't get me wrong. You looked fantastic. Now, disclaimer alert, this is where, if boys, you're going to understand what I'm about to say when I say it. You need to tell your spouse if they are going on the Maid of the Mist and they're standing at the front of the boat to not put makeup on, to not do their hair so nice. When she made her hair look curly and everything, she looked so beautiful. And she put the makeup on, and we got to the front of the boat and we got drenched. So it was an embarrassing moment for me. I should have told her that, and it ruined the whole entire trip because she was so upset with me that I had her do all this makeup and everything, and we didn't get the picture that we wanted. So it
But
ruined.
I do highly recommend it. It
I,
was amazing. I like if you can definitely go. It was a really really great time. Don't do hair and makeup. You don't want to get it all soaked off, but it was really really fun. So if I could choose a place despite our, the one little side note whatever, but that's what I think of. So
that's good. Now, talk about your first experience in going to Niagara Falls. There was a little bit of an incident before you even got to the falls. You're on your way to the falls, and this is going to be I'm gonna take this from a truth or lie your ass off segment. This is gonna move into your truth or lie your ass off segment. I want you to talk about that moment when you're in the car and there's some type of situation that happened. Talk to us about it, and I'm gonna have the viewers determine if this is a true story or is she lying her ass off.
So we're talking about on the way there, right? Like on the car
Talking
ride.
about on the way there, yes, we're talking about that story.
Okay. So we were on our way to go to Niagara Falls, and I had just got into town like the night before. So and it was a very busy trip. I had went to Nashville. I went to a conference there. I had gone to a few different places, kind of low on sleep. So, and I wasn't sure of like the plan that we were going there, obviously, because I got all dolled up. And so then we get like this wake up call, like first thing in the morning, and they were like, okay, you need to be down in the car in 5 minutes. And I was like, okay. So we literally, I rolled out of bed within 2 seconds. I picked out an outfit super duper quick, and I grabbed everything. I grabbed my contacts, I grabbed my makeup, I grabbed my straightener, I grabbed everything, that I need. I grabbed my shoes. Literally, I don't have time to put my shoes on in order to get to the car. So I have everything in my hand. I'm like running out of the room, trying to get to the car, because if we're not there, we're going to have to figure out a different way to get there, whatever. So we get in the car, and I'm, doing my thing. I'm getting everything on, while we're driving in the back seat. And so I was like, okay. I looked down and I realized I only have one shoe, like one. I was like, what? So I looked all in the back seat. I looked everywhere. I was like, how can this happen? Like, you can't just have one shoe. And come to find out, we come back to the hotel later that night, and I make Brett go up to the front desk, and I'm like, ask them if they happen to have a shoe, like, just happen to, did anyone turn it in? Like, was it in the parking lot, like in the hot lobby? And they're like, actually, yes, we were really curious about this. And so, yeah, they found my shoe. Luckily, I brought a spare, but it was crazy times.
That was a great it could have been a good story if it's true, or it could have been a bad story if she's lying. So there's another part to that story that you didn't add into the stress of that time. So there's something that happened as well that you didn't add in there, and I want you to add that part into it to tell the part of the story to see if you're telling the truth or lying your ass off. So let's add to that a little bit more. Tell the viewers about that other part of the story that happened.
When we were in that Home Depot parking lot.
That's the story. We have a little bit of a special appearance where Shiloh is going off a little bit. I don't know what's going on out there, but this is a deck that my dad built, and she absolutely loves to bark at if there's some type of animal that's out there or something like that that she can't get to. She likes to bark at that. So tell the viewers about that Home Depot story too. How did that start? How did that come about?
So we were going to Niagara Falls after I don't have a shoe, after I'm getting ready in the back seat with two males, and it was a whole thing. But we had, we need to go to the bathroom, and we couldn't hold it until we got there. So we go to Home Depot. Sorry again for our puppy in the background.
Yeah, let me go get her real quick. I'm gonna story. I'm gonna go get her real quick, okay?
Okay. So we get there, and we were going to the bathroom. I had my phone in my back pocket, because, that's where girls put their phones. So I had it in my back pocket. We get out of Home Depot, and when I slide in the car, I realize that I'm like looking for my phone to call someone, and I don't have my phone. I'm like, what on earth? And it wasn't in my back pocket. And apparently, when I was getting into the car, it slid out of my pocket, went on the parking lot, and we like drove off, and we had to go and I was like, oh my God, stop the car. We like, I don't have my phone. And so they literally had to turn around back into the parking lot, and we had to grab my phone. And so now it's like this inside joke that every time we go anywhere, they're like, Hannah, do you have your phone? Make sure you have your phone because we don't want to go back to any parking lots, especially Home Depot. So it's kind of our like little inside joke that we have with Home Depot. But
That's exactly what it is. Now, that story is so funny because it's exactly every time we go up to Buffalo, that story is told. So, Hannah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I appreciate your time. I know we went over by a little bit. I'm going to do one last segment with you, okay? And I do this with all my viewers, and I want to give you the time. Is there anything you want to get off your chest? Anything you want to talk about? Any type of anything at all that you want to say to the viewers, something that they don't know about you or anything? This is your time to take the reins, take over the show, tell everybody a little bit about something that you haven't told anybody. It could be something like that or anything you want to share.
awesome. I also wanted to side note that I'm sitting outside, so it's getting a little dark. So I'm sorry if you can't see me as well.
Don't
but
even worry about that. That's on me. That's on me. I should have edited that a little bit. If there's anything you want to share, just let us know.
yeah. So I want to, not necessarily about me, but I just want to just say how proud I am of Brett and just how hard that he has worked on this podcast. He is really like behind the scenes. Obviously I'm with him every single day, and I'm able to see all of his, Instagram posts, just the way that he's grown in his YouTube. Like he used to be scared, like, secret time. He used to be scared to death of being on video, like to even, go on YouTube, period. So he has just grown so much. And I, also would like to shout out to specifically Shane, Sean, I'm sorry, Sean. And just say like huge shout out to you because you really, as well as Nickel City Mafia, as well as Jake and Mike, but specifically Sean, because you really helped him really grow and just put yourself out there, because you never know what's going to happen until you try. And I just really admire all the hard work that he's put behind the scenes, all the hard work he's put on all his shows. So I want to say I'm really proud of you and I love you, and you're doing really, really great. So.
Well, I love you too. Thank you so much. I appreciate you allowing me to do this. It's so much fun. And one thing I want to add into what you're saying, you said it very well. I have a puppy that wants to get into every little thing. You know her. So one thing I want to add into that is, if this is for everybody out there, if there's something that you are doing that you're not sure that somebody else is going to love, or it's something that's your passion, go for it. You only get to experience this once, and there's things in my lifetime, and I know in Hannah's lifetime, that she liked doing it, but she never really put her full passion into it. And you can think back to what it is. I mean, football was one of the things for me. I liked it. I loved being around it, and I didn't put my full effort into it, and I wish I would have. Or it could be that, or it could be something else. And even with the Go Bills podcast, doing this for so many years, I've really put my maximum effort into making this show great for everybody else and making sure that everybody enjoys it. That's one thing I've really strived on. And I know that Jake and Sean and Mike, everybody, they have the same passion that I do. So I want to share with all the viewers out there, if there's something that you want to go after it, give it your all, because you never know. Tomorrow's not promised. So give it your all, make it fun, enjoy it, have a good time at it, but give it your all. And I want to see the next great person at that. I want you to take it to the next level, make it even better than the last person that did it, because you never know. There's somebody that's out there that can be the next great person at anything in this world. Hannah, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it. You're awesome. I love you so much. I cannot wait for our wedding day. 7 more months. We got that going on for us. And thank you so much for allowing me to do this show. I'm going to let you get off of here. This has been another edition of the Go Bills podcast, and we will see you next time for another great show with another special guest. As always, go Bills, and we will have our outro coming up in just a second. But first, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on all social media platforms. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, as well as Twitter. And don't forget that we have our new website, thegobillspodcast.com, where you can find all of our information of upcoming shows, as well as our you'll also find our upcoming schedule with everything that's going on, and you'll find out more about our events, as well as news on the Buffalo Bills. So don't forget to go into that. This has been the Go Bills podcast. We'll see you next time. As always, go